We live in an era characterized by an unprecedented level of noise. Everywhere you look, there is desperate clawing, hunger for validation. People are fracturing their identities into 1,000 digital pieces, scattering them across the landscape, begging strangers for permission to exist, to feel important or to be seen. They wear logos like masks, hoping the brand will do the heavy lifting of defining who they are because the interior space is entirely hollow. But there's a distinct pocket of the culture that refuses to participate in this mass evacuation of substance. There is a collective that operates under a completely different set of physical and psychological laws. This is the supereminent society. It is not an internet fandom built on casual curiosity. It is not a passive fan base that gathers to consume a product, clap its hands, and wait for the next release cycle. The supereminent society is a tribe. It is an exclusive order of individuals who have recognized an identical frequency in one another, a shared devotion to weight, structure, and absolute internal alignment. To understand what it takes to belong to this society, you first have to understand what it rejects. This collective does not exist to offer shelter to the complacent, nor does it exist to provide a disguise for the lazy. It is easy to buy a garment, put it on, and pretend you have the gravity of the name written on the textile. But our society is self-policing. The fabric itself acts as a filter. A heavy gauge, ultra heavyweight cotton garment has a specific architecture. It holds its own shape. If a person is soft on the inside, if their willpower bends to compliance and their character is diluted by the constant need to blend in, the clothing will look completely unnatural on them. It will look like armor on a child. It will expose the slouch. So belonging to the supereminent society requires a fundamental shift in how you measure your own value. In this space, your worth is entirely intrinsic. It cannot be granted to you by a critic, and it cannot be stripped away from you by a failure. The world itself survives on temporary hype and disposable trends. It runs on a light, frantic energy that shifts with the morning wind. To step into the society means you must have more density than the vacuum around you. You must be rooted so deeply in your own standard of execution that the passing opinions of the crowd don't even register as noise. The initiation into this collective doesn't happen through a sign-up sheet or a digital transaction. It happens in the quiet, isolated hours where no one is watching. Think about the work that occurs when the stage lights are completely turned off. Think about the creator who spends 3 days adjusting a single line of monogram pattern because good enough feels like a visceral insult to their intellect. Think about the individual who faces a massive crushing failure, stands directly in the center of it all, and feels the absolute weight of it, yet chooses to rebuild the blueprint from scratch rather than look for someone to blame. That is the baseline. That is free admission. When you see someone walking down a crowded street wearing the SE motif, stands for supereminent, there is a silent, immediate recognition that takes place. It bypasses the need for small talk or superficial greetings. You look them in the eye and you know exactly who they are. You know they understand the cost of excellence. You know they don't compromise on their craft. You know they have paid their dues in isolation, hammering away at their own raw potential until it turned into unyielding structure. The supereminent society is a monument to the unyielding because we are a tribe of the unseen, moving with absolute purpose through a world that is running on empty. Many fan bases are built on the idea of inclusion. They want to open the doors as wide as possible, dilute the message, make everyone feel comfortable so they can maximize the numbers. We do the exact opposite. We build walls. We create high contrast boundaries. We make the standard of entry incredibly heavy because we only want the people who view fashion not as entertainment, but as an extension of their personal value. If you are looking for a community that will coddle your excuses or validate your complacency, you are in the wrong place. This society is a crucible. It demands that you show up completely upright. It demands that you take full accountability for your focus and your execution. You cannot float through this space The gravity here will pull you down if you aren't strong enough to stand under it. But if you are someone who has always felt a quiet detachment from the lightweight nature of modern culture, if you are someone who craves substance, density, and things that are built to outlast the errors, then this is your home. This is where the high art devotion to form meets the raw grit of the street. This is where we remind ourselves and each other that we are the authors of our own environment, not the products of it. We don't adapt to the world. We force the world to adapt to the architecture we build. Membership in this society is a daily discipline. Every single morning before you walk out the door and encounter a culture designed to erode your focus, you have to establish your foundation. You have to look at your blueprint and remember the internal law you live by. You don't put on our garments to hide who you are. You put them on to announce that your inner iron matches your outer shell. We are not chasing the seasons. We are defining an era. The trend chasers will buy what is fast and disposable, and within a few months, their clothes and their identities will unravel in the wash. But the individuals who carry the SUPEREMINENT name are building something permanent. Look at the person to your left and your right, wherever you are. You are looking at the new leaders of the new, or rather of the next cultural shift. People who do not bow, do not break, and do not ask for permission. The standard is already set. The blueprint has been inked into the concrete, and the foundation is completely poured. What happens next is entirely a matter of your own daily execution. We are moving forward with an absolute focus that cannot be disrupted by external noise. Every stitch, every heavy line of the monogram, and every single body that carries this name forward serves as a physical marker of that relentless momentum. We are anchored in a completely different timeline. So keep your posture upright. Keep your focus locked onto the details that matter. When you step out into the world under this banner, you are carrying a legacy of absolute substance. Execute the vision. Hold the line. Welcome to the era of SUPEREMINENT. But most of all, welcome to the SUPEREMINENT. I didn't say that right. Welcome to the SUPEREMINENT Society. If you got any value out of this video, hit the subscribe button below. And by the way, my website is live. So go ahead and hit that link in the bio or in the description. It's up there somewhere. And add your name to the growing list. And I'll see you next time. Peace.